Welcome to the debate. Imagine spending like $200,000 and 4 years of your life to earn an elite university degree.
Right, the standard American dream.
Exactly. Only to graduate and realize that an artificial intelligence can do your entry-level desk job faster, better, and for, well, a fraction of a cent.
It's a pretty brutal reality check.
It really is. And according to Palantir CEO Alex Karp, that is the brutal new reality of the global workforce. He's warning that AI may wipe out many humanities jobs, yet insist vocational and technical workers may actually thrive.
Which is a massive macroeconomic shift.
Huge. Today, we are examining this stark dichotomy. We're looking at the collapse of traditional white-collar knowledge work against the rapid ascent of physical trades and highly unorthodox technical problem-solving.
Right. And the central question we have to answer today is this. Is artificial intelligence fundamentally rendering humanities and routine white-collar work obsolete? Or does automating routine tasks actually elevate the urgent need for humanistic, ethical, and strategic reasoning?
I'm taking the position that the AI revolution is rapidly commoditizing routine intellectual labor. It's decisively shifting the economic premium toward physical vocational trades and, non-linear, deep technical expertise.
And I'll be taking the counter perspective. As AI takes over the mechanical how of business, like the processing, the sorting, the generating, humanities-driven skills focused on the why and should we are actually becoming the ultimate competitive advantage.
You really think so?
Absolutely. These systems are incredibly powerful and, frankly, dangerous if left unchecked. The idea that human-centered reasoning is obsolete is a fundamental misreading of what technology actually requires to function safely in our society.
Well, to ground this, we really need to look at what is happening to the traditional white-collar pathway right now. I mean, for decades, the implicit promise of our education system was incredibly linear.
Yeah. Get a degree, get a job.
Right. Get a liberal arts degree or some specialized credential, and you are guaranteed a secure desk job. You learn information, you analyze it, and you regurgitate it into reports or spreadsheets.
The classic knowledge worker model.
Exactly. But as Karp pointed out at the World Economic Forum in Davos, AI now perfectly executes the low-end coding, the basic lawyering, the reading, and the writing tasks. The exact tasks that used to justify those massive student loans.
But is it actually executing the critical thinking? Or is it just doing the administrative formatting? Because I think Karp is fatally conflating routine administrative work with true humanities.
How so?
Well, the humanities are not simply about reading a massive document and summarizing it into bullet points. They cultivate ethical reasoning, critical thinking, and empathy.
Empathy doesn't write code, though.
But it governs the code. If you look at insights from Cisco's Global Innovation Officer, Guy Diedrich, or McKinsey's Bob Sternfels, you see a completely different reality on the ground.
Okay, what reality are they seeing?
We have systems like Palantir's Artificial Intelligence Platform, or AIP, integrating directly into defense, healthcare, and finance. The risk of civil liberties violations is profound. I mean, we are talking about immigration tracking, predictive policing, lethal military targeting.
Right. High-stakes environments.
Exactly. Human-centered reasoning is the vital steering wheel required to responsibly deploy AI at that kind of scale.
I hear the ethical argument, I do, but let's be real about how the market actually behaves and what enterprise AI is already doing today.
Okay, let's look at the market.
To understand the validity of Karp's stark warnings, we have to look at Palantir's explosive financial turnaround. I mean, in 2024, they reached $2.87 billion in revenue with a 71% year-over-year commercial growth in the U.S. alone.
Wow.
Yeah, they generated over $1 billion in free cash flow. This isn't some theoretical future state.
Financial success doesn't automatically mean the human element is obsolete, though. It just means their software is selling really well.
But it's not just selling well, it's fundamentally replacing human logic processors. Look at how they do it. Through their AIB boot camps, Palantir operationalizes AI by taking a company's tribal knowledge.
Wait, what does mapping tribal knowledge actually mean in practice?
Well, it's the unwritten rules of how an institution actually works. They take that and map it into a logic framework called an ontology. They are solving incredibly complex problems like detecting mortgage fraud for Fannie Mae in a matter of days or weeks.
Let's unpack that, though.
Think of tribal knowledge like a grandmother's secret recipe. It's, a pinch of this, a dash of that. A human loan officer at Fannie Mae looks at a file and uses their gut, their experience, to sense fraud.
Right, human intuition.
Exactly. Well, Palantir's ontology is like a master chef coming in, scientifically measuring every single pinch and dash and writing a strict code. That code lets a robot bake that exact cake perfectly every single time, 1,000,000 times a second.
Okay, I see where you're going.
Once that code exists, you no longer need the grandmother in the kitchen. So if traditional white-collar workers are essentially industrial-era assembly line workers of the mind, and an ontology perfectly maps their intuition, isn't that human processor totally redundant?
That is a fascinating analogy, I'll give you that. But it actually exposes the flaw in your logic.
How?
Textual, nuanced, and frequently involves balancing competing, ethical, legal, and business priorities that shift daily.
But the AI handles data shifts.
Yes, Palantir can map data into an ontology, which, by the way, is just a semantic layer connecting digital data to real-world entities to allow cause and effect reasoning. But an ontology is only as good as the humanistic framework governing it.
Right. But
when the context changes, say a new regulatory law is passed or a global pandemic hits, the recipe breaks.
the AI can rewrite the recipe in real time based on the new data parameters.
It can optimize the parameters, sure, but it cannot judge the human impact of that optimization. Calling knowledge workers assembly line workers of the mind is a profoundly reductive way to view human cognition.
Is it, though?
Yes. Guy Diedrich at Cisco points out that while AI is expected to transform 40% of mid-level and 37% of entry-level IT roles, this actually amplifies the need for human judgment.
Amplifies?
Exactly. When data is ubiquitous and analysis is instantaneous, the actual competitive edge is the ability to interpret that analysis through a lens of human impact. Cisco's responsible AI framework focuses on transparency, fairness, and accountability. AI cannot self-enforce those principles.
Well, routine intellectual labor is still being commoditized, which is just a fancy way of saying that the basic analysis you used to get paid $80,000 a year to do in a cubicle can now be done by software for practically nothing.
Right, the basic execution part.
Yeah, and Karp explicitly warned Davos attendees that going to an elite school to study philosophy is no longer a shield. He bluntly stated that AI will destroy humanities' jobs. The market does not want to pay a premium for a middle manager to philosophize about fairness when an AI agent executes the core business function flawlessly.
Wait, if that's true, why are apex capitalist institutions actively hunting for these specific graduates?
Are they?
Yes! You're presenting this as purely a humanities vulnerability, but the data in our source material shows it is a universal white-collar vulnerability, especially in tech.
Well, junior coding is definitely taking a hit.
Exactly.
Anthropic CEO Dario Amodei and Google DeepMind's Demis Hassabis confirmed that even junior and mid-level software coding roles are declining. Amodei explicitly noted that software roles in Anthropic were down. This proves the vulnerability isn't about studying philosophy, it's about performing any routine digital task.
Right. It's about routine digital tasks, which absolutely includes junior coding. Think about why those coding jobs are vanishing.
Because of code generation?
Yeah. Junior coders used to spend years writing boilerplate code, the repetitive foundation, the scaffolding of software. AI can now generate that boilerplate in seconds. The only coders who survive are the architects, the ones who creatively piece those AI-generated blocks together.
Which brings me back to my point about who survives. At the exact same time tech roles are declining, the COO of BlackRock, Robert Goldstein, insists his company intentionally hires college graduates who majored in subjects completely unrelated to finance or technology.
Okay, but why?
Bob Sternfels, the global managing partner of McKinsey, explicitly stated his firm is focused on recruiting liberal arts majors specifically for their creativity. McKinsey and BlackRock are not charities. They are ruthless, profit-driven entities seeking a competitive advantage, and they are finding it in the liberal arts.
Are they really finding it in the liberal arts, or are they finding it in a specific type of human brain that just happens to be hiding there?
What do you mean?
I have to admit, when Karp says the future belongs to the neurodivergent or the artist's shaped, It initially sounds like a Silicon Valley buzzword, but what does he actually mean in the context of everyday labor?
Right, an artist-shaped worker.
Yeah. When financial executives say they are hiring non-tech majors for creativity, I argue they are really just searching for Karp's artist-shaped problem solvers under the outdated legacy label of a liberal arts degree.
But how is an artist-shaped problem solver different from a humanities thinker?
Karp describes these people as individuals who approach problems from entirely unorthodox, nonlinear directions. He credits his own dyslexia for Palantir's success, actually.
Okay, so it's about neurodiversity.
Exactly. These are people who historically couldn't survive in a traditional corporate sit-in-your-chair-and-comply environment. They synthesize complex variables in ways a linear AI model or a linear human thinker simply cannot.
I see. McKinsey isn't hiring them because they read F. Scott Fitzgerald. They're hiring them because they possess a rare, native ability to break the rules effectively. The university degree itself is becoming irrelevant. It's the native cognitive trait that holds value.
But the degree is the crucible where that ability to challenge assumptions is often forged. You don't just magically wake up at age 22 with the ability to interrogate the ethical parameters of a global financial system or a supply chain.
Well,
It is taught. It is practiced through the rigorous study of history, literature, and social theory. But let's shift to the physical world, because this is where your argument really hinges. Yeah, it does.
you're suggesting that because traditional knowledge work is cratering, the labor market is aggressively pivoting toward the physical trades.
It absolutely is pivoting. We are seeing a massive new economic premium on physical trades and nonlinear operations. Look at the bar chart analysis on AI displacement.
The one looking at insulated jobs.
Right. It clearly highlights that trades like plumbing, electrical work, and battery manufacturing are highly insulated from automation.
Sure, because AI struggles with unpredictable physical environments.
Exactly. It's the ultimate moat. A digital space is perfectly mapped and constrained. Underneath a flooded kitchen sink is pure, unpredictable chaos.
Fair point.
You cannot code a large language model to crawl under a house, diagnose a corroded pipe, and physically weld a joint in a cramped, wet space.
No, you definitely can't.
Karp insists that if you are a vocational technician or if you are building batteries on an assembly line, you are now incredibly valuable. There is a severe shortage of skilled labor in the U.S. right now.
There is.
So when you combine massive demand, limited supply, and absolute immunity to AI automation, the economic gravity undeniably shifts toward the physical world.
That is undeniably true on a mechanical level. A robot can't easily fix my plumbing. But let's look at the societal implications of what Karp is proposing here.
Which are?
He is suggesting a world where a tiny fraction of elite artist-shaped tech billionaires and AI architects control the intellectual and economic high ground, while the rest of humanity is relegated to physical labor.
Relegated?
Yes, he literally used the example of people building batteries for a battery company to service the needs of tech firms. A journalist at Futurism rightfully pointed out that this resembles a modern feudalism.
Feudalism is a pretty loaded term.
It's an accurate one, though. Karp is sitting on a net worth of over $15 billion. He envisions a society that values two things: elite lords of the algorithm and the technical grunts who build the physical infrastructure to power their servers.
I think that's a bit extreme.
There is a profound danger in a society that entirely devalues widespread human intellect and limits intellectual agency to a handful of savants at the top.
I understand the instinct to recoil at the optics of a billionaire discussing the working class. It rubs people the wrong way. But I have to push back on this structural framing because we need to look at the macroeconomic reality here.
Okay, let's look at it.
If the U.S. lacks the manufacturing base necessary to compete globally, even on the battlefield, isn't elevating the dignity, the necessity, and the compensation of physical, vocational work exactly the societal correction we need?
A correction is fine, but relegating the middle class to manual labor isn't a correction. It's a downgrade in intellectual autonomy.
I don't see it as a downgrade at all. Karp noted our inability to manufacture munitions and batteries at the necessary scale to defend ourselves.
Which is a valid defense concern.
Exactly. For decades, we told an entire generation that working with their hands was a secondary, inferior path. We pushed everyone into a 4-year university to become a middle manager. Now, the AI revolution is violently correcting that market distortion.
Violently correcting it, yeah.
It is heavily rewarding localized, physical problem solving. I mean, a master electrician today often out-earns a mid-level marketing director, and the electrician's job is safe for the next 50 years. This isn't feudalism. It's a rebalancing of economic value back to the tangible world.
It becomes feudalism if we systematically dismantle the educational infrastructure that allows average citizens to critically evaluate the people in power, which brings us to the massive strategic implications for universities, governments, and the labor market.
Right, the political side.
Karp forecasts severe political disruption. He specifically predicted that the use of AI technology will undermine the economic influence of humanities-trained voters whom he categorized as largely democratic and aggressively increase the influence of vocationally trained working-class voters.
Well, the political shift makes perfect sense if the economic base shifts.
Yes, but Palantir isn't just predicting it. They're actively trying to bypass the university system. They introduced the Meritocracy Fellowship specifically for high school students as a direct critique of American colleges.
Right, bypassing the traditional route.
They are essentially accusing universities of indoctrinating students rather than providing actual economic value.
And can you really blame him for that critique? I mean, think about it. If I'm a parent right now looking at my high schooler, I am seriously questioning whether co-signing a massive, unforgivable loan for a sociology degree makes any sense whatsoever.
It is a huge financial burden, yes.
Or should I be pushing them toward a highly paid trade where AI literally cannot compete? When you look at the debt-to-income ratio for a standard liberal arts degree today, it is financially disastrous.
Well, it depends on how you use it.
Karp actually joked at Davos, asking how you explain having $1 million in debt to your future family. If the skills acquired in a university are immediately replicable by an AI agent for free, the university system as it currently exists is selling a defective product.
The product isn't defective if we reform how it is taught, though. Cisco's Guy Diedrich makes the exact right point here. Higher education must reimagine the role of the humanities through experiential, interdisciplinary learning.
But can they do that fast enough?
We cannot separate the technical from the human. You can't just have coders building things without ethicists asking what they are building. The ethical risks of AI are not hypothetical anymore.
No, they're definitely real.
Palantir's tools are utilized by immigration and customs enforcement for real-time tracking of migrant flows. They are used in predictive policing. They are used in the Maven Smart system for military targeting.
Yes, they run massive government contracts.
And critics, civil liberties advocates, and even former Palantir employees have raised severe alarms about these technologies enabling a surveillance state. If we eliminate the humanities, we eliminate the rigorous, institutionalized study of ethics required to govern these exact technologies. We cannot leave the governance of AI solely to the billionaires building it.
Nobody is saying we abandon all governance. But I severely question the agility and feasibility of your academic reform. You're talking about universities pivoting to experiential, interdisciplinary learning.
Yes.
Can a legacy university burdened by bureaucracy realistically pivot its 4-year curriculum quickly enough to keep pace with an AI that iterates every 6 months?
It has to, or society loses its moral compass on technology.
But while they are trying to figure that out, students are drowning in debt. This is why Karp advocates looking at the German model.
Oh, the tracking system.
Germany has a highly robust economy built on a distinct educational track. They do early, rigorous aptitude testing, which leads students into debt-free, highly technical vocational high schools.
Right.
These students emerge at 18 or 20 without crippling debt, possessing skills directly applicable to complex manufacturing, like building an Airbus or a BMW. Should we not immediately adopt a system that accurately diagnoses aptitude and slots individuals into secure, debt-free technical careers, rather than pushing them into a 4-year philosophical degree that AI renders economically void?
You can't just cut and paste a foreign economic model. The German model works because Germany possesses a robust social safety net.
How does that change the education piece?
They have comprehensive health care, Strong labor protections, powerful unions, and a societal consensus that deeply values and protects its workers. You cannot import their vocational tracking system into the hyper-capitalist U.S. market without importing the social infrastructure that protects those workers from exploitation.
I see what you're saying, but if we implement ruthless aptitude testing in America without those protections, we are simply institutionalizing inequality.
I'm not sure it's inequality if the market is paying them extremely well.
It's inequality of opportunity. Furthermore, standard testing historically pulls for compliance. It weeds out the dyslexics, the non-traditional thinkers, the neurodivergent, the very artist-shaped people Karp says we desperately need.
Well, testing can evolve.
But relying on standardized testing to slot human beings into permanent socioeconomic categories at age 14 is a dangerously rigid solution for an incredibly fluid technological era. The humanities teach adaptability. They teach humans how to navigate massive paradigm shifts.
But that adaptability must have a market value. Right now, the market is signaling that the ultimate adaptability is nonlinear technical execution and physical world problem solving.
It's signaling both.
The capabilities of enterprise AI, demonstrated by companies like Palantir, mapping tribal knowledge into code, fundamentally shift the economic center of gravity. Routine intellectual tasks are completely commoditized.
Routine, yes.
The future belongs to the physical trades, advanced manufacturing, and unorthodox technical operators. The traditional liberal arts degree as a guarantor of white-collar stability is highly vulnerable, and our societal focus just has to pivot toward vocational and deep technical mastery to remain globally competitive.
While AI undeniably automates the mechanical execution of tasks, the immense power, scale, and ethical danger of AI make humanities-based critical thinking more essential than ever.
It's a heavy responsibility.
Exactly. We need professionals capable of navigating ambiguity, ensuring transparency, and protecting civil liberties against mass surveillance and automated targeting. Elevating vocational training is necessary, but abandoning the humanities risks creating a society that is technologically advanced but ethically bankrupt.
A society governed by algorithms.
Regulated by a narrow elite without the human oversight required to ensure these systems actually serve the common good.
Yet, despite our differing perspectives on the ultimate value of the humanities in an automated world, we do find a profound point of convergence in this material today.
I think we do.
The linear legacy career path, the deeply held American belief that obtaining a 4-year degree guarantees a safe, comfortable desk job performing routine intellectual tasks, is definitively over.
I completely agree with you there. The assumption that you can simply learn a set of facts, sit at a desk, and process paperwork for 40 years has been permanently disrupted by artificial intelligence.
There is almost cinematic tension happening right now across the global economy. On one side, we are witnessing the massive destruction of traditional knowledge work.
And on the other?
On the other side, we are seeing unprecedented new opportunities emerge in the physical sectors and the highly technical, nonlinear domains. It really is a profound recalibration of what human labor is actually worth.
And managing that tension will require both technical brilliance and deep human empathy. We highly encourage our listeners to dive deeper into the source material, the financial reports, the Davos panels, the strategic frameworks from Cisco and McKinsey to truly understand these shifting economic currents.
Is AI replacing knowledge work faster than education systems can adapt?